in the other way, and then I might be able to see what you're doing on the YouTube.
Did you see anything on there yet, Jane?
Pardon me. Oh.
We're live, apparently.
Started streaming less than a minute ago from the other way, and then I might be able to see what you're doing on the YouTube. They can hear us.
Oh.
Pardon me.
Hello?
What?
We're live, apparently. We're on. Yeah, we're there. We're there, Parky.
Yeah, I'm muting the other screen. Oh, I'm looking at you, looking at me, looking at you, looking at me, looking at you, looking at me, looking at you, looking at me. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Have we got something we can see chatting and everything?
Yes. Jakey Boy Woo Winky says hello. Hello to you, Jakey Boy Woo Woo Winky.
I can't see that on here. That's unfair.
I am in control of the chat then, I guess.
Is there a chat? I haven't got a chat thing on this bloody picture. If I move this picture, it all goes wonky.
Oh, I've got the chat. It's all right.
Well, yeah, they might be saying wonderful things about me. You sure? Okay, hold on. One moment. How many viewers we got, Parky? Is it just Jake?
We've got 3 whole humans watching now, although there might be dodgy bots.
Jane, that might be me as well.
Oh, and me. Yeah, we've got 4 now. So that's me, you, Jane, and Jake. Thanks, Jake, for being a real person.
Right, where's the wordage come up then? Live chat.
Nothing like professional. 6 people.
What? Where do the extra people come from? We haven't even started our opening title yet.
I don't know.
Play now. Create a chat. I want to join the chat. Why is this so difficult? It's all your fault, Jake. I thought you said you could chat on here, Jake.
Hey, Mighty Pierce. So, Mike, how you doing? It's your birthday, I believe. Is that right?
Who, Mike?
Happy birthday to you, if it is.
Who?
Yeah.
Me?
No, Mike. It's Mike's birthday.
Mike who?
Mike Pierce.
Yeah, I know. I already wished him happy birthday.
Oh. Well, aren't you on top of the ball, as they say?
Well, some of us has to fucking be, don't they?
Yes.
You're shit, ain't you?
That is correct.
I know it's correct. Why can't I get the wording coming up?
I don't know, because you're on top of the ball?
Yeah, give me that. Give me that over here. Right.
Oh. So, ahoy hoy!
Ahoy hoy!
Sure.
He's Parker!
And together we are the Battlehammer. Yes. So, what
are we doing today?
We are doing a monthly mumble, which I think is monthly mumble. Live and direct via the power of the internet. So this is so weird. I'm watching the delay on the other screen because I'm keeping up with chat.
Well, no one's chatting, so you can shut up.
I will shut up. Have you got the chat now?
I've got it up on Jane's phone.
All right, cool. I can ignore it and focus on the other bit.
If I start moving shiz, all the faces and stuff disappear. And I'll lose Parky, and we don't want to lose Parky. Now, why we don't want to lose Parky? Are you watching it, Parky? You watching it? Why don't we want to lose Parky?
I don't know. Because I can't see you on there. I can only see you on here.
Because? Why hasn't that come up on there? Well, I've written something's popped up on the picture on mine, and it hasn't popped up. Wow. Hey, there it is!
What?
Hey!
I don't know.
Hey!
Oh.
Hey!
Oh. I loathe you with the power of 1,000 suns. So, anyway, so it's the monthly mumble, and I am a cockwomble. Lots has been going on in the world of miniature wargaming and stuff, hasn't it not?
I don't know, has it? What has been going on? Bugger all.
Well, apparently the Indomitus box for Warhammer 40,000 9th edition sold out in 15 minutes. I've seen a few. I did watch a battle report from Mini Wargaming, which was because it was Death Guard and AdMech, two factions that I actually like, and it was kind of disappointing. Like, there was a big unit of 20 Death Guard who are supposed to be the toughest Space Marines in the galaxy, and they just got kind of tabled. It was like, oh yeah, I've killed all your stuff. Like,
was it a typical, just like 40k, rolling masses of dice?
Yeah, pretty much.
See, I don't mind doing that in Age of Sigmar, because I kind of find that really fun and therapeutic in Age of Sigmar. I just think if I try to do that in 40k, I'm losing the whole point of 40k for me, which is all about the epic little stories and struggles that happen on that battlefield.
Yeah, and I think because Age of Sigmar is more, not 100%, but it's more of a combat, like a hand-to-hand melee kind of game with units crashing into each other. And then you kind of feel like, right, yeah, we're getting stuck in. Whereas if you just like, hey, off you go, and they just get annihilated, especially a big unit of 20 Death Guard.
No, that should happen. There's no way that should happen.
Indeed. What else has been happening? The lockdown's still going on. Not 100% lockdown, then mostly lockdown, and things like conventions have still been stopped.
And yet they'll let people go into pubs, and they'll let people go swimming, and they'll let people have tattoos and shit like that. I think it's fucking ridiculous. There is no way we should be coming out of this lockdown like this. No way at all. That's just saying, hello, second wave crash.
Maybe we can set... Oh, hello. Parky, your voice is muffled. I do just sound like that. If I put the camera there a bit closer to me.
Who said that?
Mike did.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see. No wonder I couldn't find anything. I was scrolling the wrong way on my phone.
You silly.
Yes, I am. So, Parky, let's get mumbling about the gaming stuff then. We've done the 40k bit. Blah. I'm not being funny. I am really not liking any of the new models either.
They look alright.
That Space Marine drop pod bullshit.
Oh, I don't like that at all.
Oh, and the bike.
The bike's alright, but the go-kart is badness.
The go-kart is a fucking abomination.
I just don't get it. I think the, I don't know what they're called, the dudes with the melter rifles and the Gravis armour, they look pretty cool. The assault intercessors look pretty cool. I kind of like the Necron stuff.
Yeah, it's all creepy and wonderful. It'll all fall over when you try to stand it up on the table, but just...
Funnily enough, that actually leads me into a conversation about something.
What do you call
a Sigu.
A Sigu? What's that?
So I have been distracted as of late from my regularly scheduled hobbying to do other scheduled hobbying because I have had some stuff arrive. I have had arrive Grundle Splutch, the Gangrenous, and his poop tree. If you don't know what...
A couple of people saying hello.
Sorry, what?
A couple of people saying hello if you're not keeping up. Hello, Mark. I don't know who you are. You've had who turn up?
Grundle Splutch, the Gangrenous, which is the name of my great unclean one.
Hey! Please tell me you haven't been pinning that.
No, I haven't been pinning it. But I will. It's got some little nurglings on him and stuff, which is really cool. But I'm going to magnetise the weapon options so I can switch them out. Unfortunately, they don't kind of make it as easy as the Titans for Adeptus Titanicus. I'm going to have to do a bit of a fiddling around. But I've seen some things on YouTube.
And how long has it taken you to get that far?
About a day and a bit.
A day and a bit?
Well, that's with the poop tree as well. The feculent Gnarlmore.
Now, that's the terrain piece that you get to for free, isn't it?
Yeah, you get a free one. You can get more by summoning them, and if you take particular Slimex, you can summon more as well.
That's play the game, mate.
I know, right? But one of the cool things I really liked about this guy is because he's just a big ball, he actually went together really well.
Yeah.
Is unlike, say, the Bloodthirster, who's given it all that with his 1 foot on a rock. There's no weird little hangy bits. His horns are nice and thick. Maybe this Nurgling's got a slightly thin chain, but I mean...
Can you just bring it nearer the screen and just turn it up so I can see underneath? So there's plenty of room in there so you can put it on the end of your cock.
Oh, I mean, you could if you wanted to.
Woohoo!
See up his bum crack.
It's a nice model.
He's a lovely model, yeah. Went together really well. There's a couple of little gaps I want to fill, but nothing major. The detail on the sword is actually just, I don't know how well you can see it, but wow. It's fantastic. All the little skulls up and down his sword.
Nice.
Are wonderful. And his Plague Flail.
Ew.
Yeah, I love it. Oh, my favourite little bit in the kit was actually, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this at home. I need some light. That's no better at all. There's a little squished Nurgling that you kind of put under his belly, and he's like, yeah. So that's probably my favourite piece in the kit. But yeah, it went together really well.
What points does he come out at then?
Oh, that's another good point, because they've changed. I think he's 300. He was like 340, and now he's 300. All of the demons of Nurgle have come down in points.
Yeah, a lot of the Daughters of Cain have, by the looks of things.
Yeah, I'm going to need a lot more Plague Bearers.
Really?
Yeah, like a big unit of, I mean, they're basically 10 points each, assuming we're doing 2,000 point battles.
Yeah.
And then I can have 90 for 900 points. That still leaves me plenty of points for Grundle, Slutch, the Gangrenus, and all the other stuff I want to have. So I'm going to need a lot more Plague Bearers.
Bugger.
So, if people want to donate to the Battlehammer and make sure we can get that, then they can do that in the thing, right?
I don't know. Set that up? You should be able to see a button somewhere on there that says donate.
Oh, God.
I don't fucking know. Don't ask me. I'm making this all up as I go along. This is all Jake's fault. I was quite happy with your head in a box, Parker.
Well, yeah, me too. Microsoft tons have come along away in design, as in, I'm guessing, the Necrons, as he says, which is actually a fair point. The Necrons look, I really like the new spooky Necrons rather than the old just like basic robots. I think they look really cool, the weird tripod-y things and stuff. Dave Dog says, what an utter scramble and fight it was to get the Indomitus box ordered from the UK online today.
Really? God. But it's only plastic toys. What's wrong with you people?
I mean, yeah, that's what we're all about, aren't we? We're all about
the plastic. They could have had something different. Bloody Space Marines, boring.
They're always going to have Space Marines in the box.
Boring.
I mean, yes, you're not wrong, but that's what they're going to do. Shall we crack on with some questions?
Yeah, go on, and if we've got some.
I've got some on the previous monthly mumble.
Go on then.
Sats, aka Ed. Ahoy, hoy, Ed.
Ahoy, hoy, 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 ahoy, Eddie boy.
Yay, Parky's little smiley face. Because I was in a little television screen on the last mumble. Is it Mercia Minis? I know it's spelled Mears. It's spelled like Merce. Merce Minis is my wife's favourite. Every salute is the stand we spend the longest at, as she has to inspect all the cool beastmen and monsters they have on their racks. Question, actually, they have got some really cool beastmen. They've got like Hippo Men and Rhino Men and all that kind of stuff, haven't they? Questions, some were intended as jumping off points, because I just like hearing the two of you ruminate and bicker. Bicker?
We never fucking bicker. Parker's a dick. End of story.
We outright argue. Wasn't Jackie Daytona awesome? Finally, we were just talking about that.
Talking about
that. Wouldn't he be a cool urban manhunt character name? What We Do in the Shadows, in case you didn't get the reference. Yeah, for people at home, What We Do in the Shadows, the TV show, just had season 2, and it was fucking great.
Oh, you know, you just mentioned urban combat there, urban manhunt. Cynthia just messaged me this morning saying they're literally just putting the finishing touches to the companion.
Oh, awesome. Looking forward to playing some of that when we're...
She goes, I cannot wait to get it into your grubby little hands. I'm like, well, I've heard that before. Hey.
They might be grubby, but they're not little. They're average sized.
But they're grubby.
Yeah, I could see a Jackie Daytona. I'd have him as the manager of the crew. Because obviously he's that more important character.
Yeah.
2, what are you planning to / did do to each other when you finally meet / met each other in meet space again? Are we talking slow motion running across a sunlit field, or down a dirty, writhing pile of shiny, sweaty flesh right there on the doorstep? To be fair, any running I do is slow motion.
It's that slow motion Simpsons style where it's like...
With the belly, it's hypnotic. Yeah. I think just having a few beers and chatting nonsense and feeling comfy and then playing some games. That's it, right?
No drinking, no. We don't drink anymore. You're gaming.
No.
Yeah, we're not gaming, Parky. This isn't gaming, so we're okay.
That's all right, then. Cool beans. Yeah.
And you'll be limited to one beer a game.
Definitely playing some games. Probably playing something, I don't want to say simple, but something that we know the rules to already, because it's going to be getting our mojo back. So it's probably going to be something.
I've been playing and filming so much, I've been really enjoying myself.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed doing the single solo games. You know, I haven't got you there to annoy me or slow me down, you know, or have a little hissy fit when you lose.
How dare you?
You know, I've really enjoyed my games, even though every one of the games I've played, I have fucking lost. I'm getting smashed in solo games. It just doesn't make any bloody sense.
But then, it's like when I've got, I don't know if I've got it coming up or if I've finished it or if it went up already, but I played Nemo's War, and actually I really like that I don't win straight away, because then otherwise what's the point in playing again? If you just win the first time round, what's dragging you back to get better? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So Mike was just saying, you guys don't have gaming pubs. Nope.
Not here. I have seen such places, like in London.
Londinium.
And there was a pub in Norwich that had like a big gaming library, like a library of board games.
Yeah, Wayne Wilkinson has just hired Wayne and just said, hold on, the Battle Cave is a gaming pub.
I mean, yeah, he's not wrong.
It's kind of true.
That is a good point. Yeah, there are places, but they're not local to us in any way.
No.
Slightly irritating.
Yeah, but would you really want to go down a pub and play games in a pub?
It depends on the game.
Yeah, that's true. I wouldn't want to go down and role play in a pub.
No, that'd feel weird. Like I wouldn't want to role play in a local store either, because I think just because I'm used to playing it at home or at someone's house, and then you can feel a little bit more able to be in character and whatnot.
And bizarrely enough, I've been quite enjoying the game that Nick's been running on Zoom. You know, you are missing the instant interaction with players, but I think it kind of works, which is just as well a way of doing it.
Yeah, it's definitely better than nothing.
Oh, I loved your character that you come up with for Star Wars, Parky.
Oh, good.
Really good stuff.
Oh.
I've actually started to make some notes for it.
For you.
Dun dun dun. No, bad for you. Especially you.
Especially me, yeah, of course.
Did Ed have anyone? Hold on. We're swearwolves, not werewolves. Sod off, Dave. We never fucking swear. What a cock. That's what she said. So, next question, Parky. Was there another question?
Yeah. There's a couple more from Ed. Favorite fantasy / sci-fi sentient species and why? Could be from books, TV, games. He loves Tolkien-style dwarves. Ooh, that's a good question. Favorite fantasy / sci-fi species? Sentient species, not things.
I don't really care.
I'm going to say probably think
either he's frozen or he's thinking, oh, he's still.
Oh, no, I'm there. I'm just having to think. Fantasy, sci-fi. I think I'm going to go the Borg, but like the old Borg when they were in Next Gen before they got fucking pussied out by Voyager. Like pre-Borg, Queen Borg when they were good. They were proper good. Because before the Borg Queen, when you had like Hugh and all that was wicked. But they were still, we are the Borg. Resistance is futile. That was good times.
I don't really have a favourite as such.
It depends on what the mood takes you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like what's your favourite film? It's different depending on what you're in the mood for.
Yeah.
I think one thing I have started doing is, as I've got older, in games, and whether that be tabletop or role-playing or whatever, I've kind of veered away from things like elves and dwarves and alien races and back to human.
We're more interesting, aren't we?
Well, not more interesting.
No,
it's just
we're more relatable too.
Exactly. Like, I know I am a human, I think, and I know how I've seen them in the wild. I know what they act like. I kind of have quite a frame of reference, and then I understand that they have human needs and wants. Whereas when you're playing an alien race in a game, or like Tyranids or whatever, and you're like, well, they just eat stuff. Where's the connection?
Hold on, that sounds probably like you.
Yeah, right. Well, like an elf, how do you relate to an elf? A 1,000-year-old dude who walks on top of snow and can see 1,000 miles with his eyes, and can, like, how do you relate to that? How do you kind of go, oh, I get how he's feeling. I can express that in a role-playing way. You just can't, really.
Oh, no. Alan's just joined us. Afternoon, boys. Just about to heat up a sausage roll with a cuppa and found you live and online as well. It's a whole whammo of stuff. It really is. Mental stuff. All this weird technology. Imagine if I lean this way. Oh.
Next question.
I can't punch Parker in the head. I'm trying to punch him in the head.
You need longer hands. You need, like, Mr. Fantastic hands.
Any more questions from Ed?
Yeah. There's a couple more.
Bloody hell, does not stop, does he?
What's the game you have most wanted to play but couldn't during lockdown? For me, actually, is Mythos, because that was just about to kick off. We were just getting our stuff, just getting ready to play it,
and then lockdown.
And the lockdown happened, and then we haven't had a chance to play it. So I'm kind of like, I feel like I'm edging.
I haven't even painted any of my factions yet. Got them all glued together, but not painted.
I've primed my hidden ones. They were next to be painted, but then obviously this bad boy came along, so I had to get him. Oh,
that's a 10-minute job, though, isn't it, mate? Undercoat, spray green, job done.
Yeah. What? That's a lot of surface area on this guy. That's a lot. He's a big round ball.
Use a big brush.
Airbrush.
Yeah. Job done.
He's not getting painted just green, though. Oh, that's a weird thing as well. So I play Nurgle. I like Nurgle. I think Nurgle's the best Chaos God because he's really friendly. But the problem is when you go, how do I paint this? You go, well, I can't even say his fucking name. Grundlesplutch the Gangrenous. Obviously, he's going to have gangrene. So what is gangrene? That's really bad.
Don't do reference material. You're like,
yeah. And one thing about gangrene, you think, feet, maybe hands. Happens to you downstairs a surprising amount, apparently, according to the internet. There's like a whole its own thing, like crotch gangrene is its own thing.
Always give it a good scrub after it's been where it shouldn't.
Oof.
That's what your mum tells me anyway.
No, apparently it's a lot to do with like diabetes and like bad circulation and stuff. It's less about catching something and more about having an unworking body.
Yeah. Why hasn't yours dropped off then?
I think it's just
dangling there, is it?
Yeah, it's like a charcuterie, like one of those hanging salamis, just drying out in the wind.
It probably smells like one as well.
Last question from Ed, unless he's written some more later on, which he may well have done.
He's like that. He's fucking evil to us.
The whole lockdown thing is obviously making gaming very hard to do face-to-face. So stores are probably going to suffer. How do you think the industry / community are going to be affected? Are there changes that could be made, or will we come out stronger? We have seen a lot of, conventions that have gone online, which is really cool.
It's interesting. I don't know how it's going to work.
It's good that at least they're doing something, and it's nice to still have stuff to look forward to, because I have felt that we've kind of missed out on that. Ooh, what's coming? You know, obviously we've had 9th edition, but you know what I mean? Normally every couple of months you'll have a convention and people will release stuff for that convention, but they haven't necessarily been doing that.
But what people are forgetting is there is a really, really good side to that, is we don't have to hang around with a bunch of sweaty, smelly nerds.
No, that's true. I now only hang out with one sweaty, smelly nerd.
Yourself.
This guy. I think the problem is I worry that it's going to be affected in the same way that everything is going to be affected. I don't think that gaming is going to take a particularly hard hit, unlike, say, the theatre that's been shut down completely and no one's going to. And they only, you know, obviously they have their whole business design is around having a certain amount of people in at a certain time. And if you suddenly have to halve that amount of people, then how can you make the money to make the business work?
Yeah, and that's interesting because, you know, Mike's brought up a point. With the massive shutdown of the industry, how many companies do you think will survive?
I mean, some will definitely go out, but we're lucky that so much is still available online.
Yeah.
I think people have been moving stuff, like War Cradle I've definitely seen haven't had the same release schedule that they have had before lockdown.
Well, you can't, can you, really? Let's face it.
Because there's no point, kind of people can't play with their new toys. But 9th still come out, you know, that still came out during lockdown, which is pretty weird. You think they would have waited, but then I suppose they've got their stuff planned ahead for like 2 years in advance, so they need to make sure they're
but what you're forgetting, Parky, is this is England, this is Britain. Our lockdown ended about 5 weeks ago.
Our lockdown?
Oh, we'll do what we damn well please, but you're the people in charge, and you want us to do as we're told. No, I don't think so. Oh, Crotch Gangrene, Parker's party name.
Hi, I'm Crotch Gangrene. You may remember me from such films as
Very, very dodgy name, that one, Parky.
I think it's going to be tricky. That's it from Ed for now, unless he's got some more for later on. I will refresh the page because he may well have added more to it in the time that we've been chatting, because I do know what Ed is like.
Just remind him that we are as thick as pig shit and we don't do clever answers.
No, I think that, yeah, the hardest thing is going to be that people can't play games. But because the hobby isn't just the playing of games, it's like the assembly, it's the miniatures, it's all the other stuff, you know, it's the hobby rather than just the...
You do still get some of your hobby. You still get the painting and the building part of it.
Yeah, I'd still manage to pick up Grumble Splutch the Gangrenous and the Poop Tree. You know, yes, it was frustrating when a lot of the stuff wasn't available on the GW website, and I think a lot of places have had that issue when it comes to production because they weren't allowed in. I've been looking for a couple of models from, I think it's Hassle-Free Miniatures, and they've had quite a lot of stuff that you can't get at the moment. Bases, I've been wanting bases, like 32mm bases for stuff. can't get them. But that's more of a production issue that will sort itself out over time.
I've been fortunate everywhere where I've ordered stuff from. I've been okay.
And I think that's one of the things that the smaller companies, like the one-man, two-man bands.
Ahoy, ahoy, Commander Robin Archer!
Ahoy! I think those one or two-man bands, yes, they don't have the funds to keep them going for any amount of time, but on the flip side, they don't have the massive kind of overheads. They don't have the production issues in the same way. Like if you have to shut a massive factory down with 200-300 people, that's a massive deal. If you've just got you making stuff in your bedroom, well, that's not changing your setup.
No, I suppose not.
Like Annie from Bad Squiddo.
Yeah.
She had a bit of a knock-on effect, but because it's just her, pretty much, she can just do what she's doing anyway. It's not going to stop her kind of running her business on a day-to-day level.
And it's damn good as well.
Indeed.
Oh, so I'm finally painting my 15mm wild elves for Mighty Armies. 15 mil?
Well, I don't know. I kind of like 15mm. I was having a chat with Jason McFadden from the New Zealand.
Ah, the New Zealand blokey, our resident artist, bless him.
And he was talking about, he does a lot of RPG stuff in 15mm. The issue is it's the conversion from, if everything you've got is 28, and all the terrain you've got is 28, and all the spare miniatures you've got are 28, you can't then just jump into 15 straight away because you haven't got anything for it.
That's why I've been enjoying Rangers of Shadow Deep, because it allows me to use anything I want.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just, I need some skeletons. Oh, that's handy. I've got some of them. Oh, I need a giant. Oh, I've got one of them. It's allowing me to use figures that I don't normally use, which is a lot of fun.
But I like the idea of 15mm because then you can have more. You can have more ranges, like as in distance ranges. You know, the table, a 4 foot by 4 foot table, is the equivalent to like an 8 foot by 8 foot table because you're on 15mm instead of 32mm or whatever.
But surely that would take you even longer to paint them, mate.
True, because they're littler.
Because they're ickler. Very cool. Yeah, another thing Mike was saying, perhaps the new direction will be to do STL files for self-printing. Yeah, a lot of companies are doing that now, aren't they?
Yes.
Raging Heroes have done them. Other companies are doing them. Great if you've got a 3D printer and you know how to use one. Personally, I look at them and go, fuck no.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want one because, you know, they take up space, they smell, like the resin isn't, you know, it's not like healthy stuff. And they're good if you know what you're doing. Like, but as I've seen, there's a guy called Miniac, and he's been talking a little bit about it. And kind of, you have to make it. It's a hobby on its own. You know, 3D printing. You have to know how the printer works. You have to know how to provide supports to all your miniatures and all this kind of stuff. How to look after them. How to deal with them once they've cured and all that.
Fuck that. I say no. I leave that for other people to do and then give to me.
But I mean, within 5 years, it's like anything, isn't it? Like, you look at the iPad from 5 years ago compared to the iPad now, or home computing from 10 years ago to now, the internet.
Doing this shit.
Yeah. I think in 5 to 10 years, it's probably going to be not a niche thing anymore. It'll be a thing that not everyone does, but a lot of people do.
I think you'll find a lot of gaming companies will have their own little bit of an offshoot, and it will be that kind of thing.
Yeah. I'd like to see, I mean, I don't know if it's feasible as a business model, but like other people, I bought the STL files. I want these models because I think they look cool. I don't have a home printer. Can I give them to this company? He can print them out for me.
You can do that.
Oh, cool.
You can do that. I presume. I'm pretty sure I've heard someone do it. I don't know.
That's something I'd like to see.
But fortunately, that's the thing with Raging Heroes. They did those pirates, didn't they? I'm like, I really want them, but I don't have a 3D printer. Well, now they've actually released the models themselves.
Cool.
So, well, that's handy because I can go back and buy them now. Did I just see another question pop up? Oh, yeah. Old Archer. 9th edition 40k. What about it? We don't care. Ooh.
I don't not care because it's 40k and I just don't find it particularly
engaging not the fluff or
game.
anything, but the game. Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't find it particularly engaging. The whole, and probably the biggest part of it is the whole I move my stuff and do everything, and then you do everything.
Still can't believe they still do that.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like
no one else does.
It feels like it doesn't really matter what I do and what you do. It just matters what armies we've got. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, can you imagine? I couldn't think of anything worse than... thank you. For the Emperor! God, that is good.
Can't think of anything worse.
God, that rum is really good.
Nice.
Oh, it's that red leg?
Oh yeah, I saw the picture. I haven't tried it.
Nom, 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 nom. Thing is, you got to drink it quick before your ice melts, because if you drink it warm, it tastes like plastic.
Delicious plastic.
Narrative side, yeah, the narrative side will be okay, but it's still the actual rule set that caused the problem in 40k for me. You know, can you imagine? I can't think of anything worse than setting up a whole load of orcs, and then your opponent sets up a whole load of Tyranids, and you're sitting there going, ha 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 ha. Right, my move then, is it? I'll go get a book. I'll go have a nap while you're moving. But then, oh, well, I'm about to shoot, so you might as well just stay there and I'll just destroy you. No. I move everything, you move everything, you shoot everything, I move. No, not anymore. It's old school.
Yeah, I just like. Well, I would like to feel more involved in the battle.
That's one of the things about Wexodus. You know, you are constantly watching every move, and you're constantly like, right, how do I react to this? That's going to do that. And I prefer that interaction because it's instant.
Yeah.
You're not forced to sit back for 20 minutes while your opponent moves all their stuff, and you don't have to buy an app to play the game.
That's true. Also, I like you. So in Marvel Sections, for example, because we've kind of gone on to that now. You don't roll as many dice, but I actually really like that. Like sometimes buckets of dice are fun, but it creates more steps to get to a point. So like if I'm shooting my 20 bolt dudes at you, well, okay, so I'm shooting 20 bolt dudes. You're in half range. That's 40 shots. I'm going to use this stratagem that costs me 1 command point, which I might get back if I roll this other dice, which I didn't, but that's fine. So now I can do this many more shots. Re-rolling ones. If I get a 6, then I'm hitting 2 hits instead of 1 hit. Then you have to make an armor. Oh no, then I have to go through your toughness. But you re-roll toughness because of something you've got. Then you do an armor save, but you're at -1 to your armor save. And then you've got to feel no pain, but I also did 4 mortal wounds. And then you kill a certain amount of dudes. It's like, that's too much effort to get to the end.
It's just way too much, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I can't be bothered to do all that maths. I'd rather just roll a couple of dice.
And go, oh yeah.
Cool, that happened. Right, impact, necessity. And that's how it feels in Marvel's Exodus. Sometimes it can go really badly for you because you roll double 10s on your fucking grit check and you just die straight away. But sometimes it happens.
But it is nice to see big things on a table that can die. You see them coming across the table and you are scared of them. But it is nice knowing that there is a slight chance that just that one shot can take the thing out. Whereas if it's a fucking great tank lumbering across the table and it can take all these hits, I'm like, oh, what's the point?
Yeah.
I don't get it. So Archie was also saying he's been playing Kill Team for a while. Yeah, I can understand that. But what I do these days is I take other systems and use for what I want. So I've been using a lot of Rangers of the Shadow Deep rules and a lot of Last Days of the Zombie Apocalypse rules, and using a lot of them for my other gaming little bits and pieces. I've done some Inquisitor with Last Days. That was a lot of fun. Just I'm enjoying that smaller scale stuff that's quick and easy. You can get into the game quicker and you can enjoy the story more instead of just buckets of dice.
And I think if you play a shorter game, you can play 2 games.
Mm.
And if you lose or win, it doesn't matter as much. If you play a long game, and if you go to a tournament and you get 2 games in, or 1 game in an evening, and you just get trolleyed by your opponent because either a couple of bad dice rolls or you're just playing against the wrong army or whatever, you go, oh, I've got my death guard. Oh, but they ignore armor, so your 3 up doesn't matter. And they've got strength 5 weapons, so your toughness 4 doesn't matter, or whatever it is, and you just go, all right, well, there's nothing I can do about that. I've picked an army because I thought it was good, but it turns out against that specific loadout, it's shit. So I'll get my coat. Yeah. And then you feel like you've wasted your time. Yeah. Whereas if you're only playing 2 games and you go, okay, well, that didn't work, right, we'll try this other thing. Have another go, see if the dice sort out better.
Mike was, you're right, mate. Mike was also saying Arena Rex is good. Now, that's one I looked at ages ago, and I did like it a bit because it was very Guild Ball stepwise in the damage and everything. But it's just expensive.
I haven't played it. I've seen it. It does look cool.
But it's just we could not afford that. The miniatures were lovely. Don't get me wrong, they were nice, but...
And that one kind of was at the same time that we were big into Guild Ball, so it felt a bit too similar. It felt like not the same, but like a similar kind of small amount of dudes, hit stacks of damage and all that.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I did have a look at the rules. I haven't got a set of it, but I did have a look at it. It's like Cutlass, the piratey thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's a really nice little system. Really enjoying that. But then again, I've got so many little games that I like playing. At the moment, I'm kind of dragging rules in from each of these little games and just playing a game and going, well, I'm going to use this rule for this. I'm going to use that rule for that. And I'm having a bucket of fun with it. Oh, hello. We'll see written up here now. God, I'm going to read. Yeah. Yeah. That's what you do. Yes, I'm not repeating all that. That's way too long. And you can't say that about anyone's mother. I've been taking my girlfriend
for a second kill team campaign in which I have added other things from Mordheim and stuff.
Yeah.
Mike says it's not like Guild Ball. I'm sure it isn't like Guild Ball, but from an outsider looking in, and we were playing a lot of Guild Ball.
The way the damage lines work, it's kind of...
It just kind of felt a bit... Not that we knew anything about the game, but we were playing a small number count in an arena, if you like, Guild Ball. I'm sure it's a completely different game, but it just... Sometimes you can have 2 completely different games, but they scratch the same itch.
Mm.
Like if you want to play a mass battle again, and another mass battle plays completely differently, but they're still both mass battle games or whatever, Okay, so...
the Inquisitor thing is up online.
Oh, cool.
The first one I did. Did I do it? I think... I'm just trying to remember what system. Did I either use the Last Day system? No, I think I used the Last Day system because you could run out of ammo and stuff like that. It's really good fun.
Nice. Can you keep the people busy for a minute? Because I just need to sort my sniffle out.
Oh, for the love of God, you're a fucking imbecile. Use your shirt you normally do.
Who on you? I also need to get a couple of beers as well.
Right. What? You haven't got beers in your room? You are I'm sorry about him, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Wayne, really think you should get all your ideas for a game you've cobbled together down on paper and just play it on your channel when you can. That's what I've been doing. A lot of the stuff is, I've taken Rangers of Shadow Deep and I've taken Last Days, and I'm playing a whole pirate campaign that I'm basing on Ailstorm the Band pirates, and I'm running that through both systems depending on the style of scenario I want to play. So that works quite fun. That is enjoyable. But then I've just reskinned Last Days for Inquisitor, and that's all I'm doing. I'm just taking the systems as they are, reskinning them. I'm not bothering to change lots of rules and everything. If I want to use someone with a rifle, then I'll say it's a rifle. Yeah, I'll just use the bow stats. Thank you very much. If I enjoy the game and I've had fun with it, then I'll go back and say, right, okay, let's work out proper stats with this weapon, stuff like that. Oh, he's back.
Hello.
Hello, I'm a wizard.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Yeah, I think as well, like, you know, one of the advantages of taking a system and tweaking it and using other miniatures is you don't have to paint as many miniatures or buy as many miniatures as well.
I am not dancing for any of you lot. See, I'm not dancing. Parker, however, is a moron.
That is accurate. Okay, so Gamer Chap says, are you guys planning on taking part with the Virtual Games Expo in August? I know it's a bit strange, but I think it'd be good to show support. Hopefully we'll see you there next year. I mean, I guess so. I don't really know. I suppose UK Games Expo will be UK, so timing shouldn't be an issue. I don't know exactly what they're doing. I kind of just like following it along, like when they do the Warhammer community stuff. You just go, ooh, new stuff's out. Ooh, new stuff's out.
But not have the hassle of actually having to be near people.
Yeah, there is that.
You're just like, and I think they'd frown down on us if me and Parky walked around with beer in our hands.
There's ways.
Is there?
Well, maybe not a beer, but you could do a nice, like a nice Ribena and vodka Ribena thing, and put that in a little hip flask or whatever, or put it in a little water bottle. Num num num. What's this? What's this red squash? Is it? Oh, it's red wine. Oh, okay. Yeah, fermented grape juice, grape kombucha or something.
No, that's like vomit inducing. Any more questions there, Parky?
Cynthia Miller, ahoy hoy, Cynthia. I'm glad you like the solo play Urban Manhunt rules. The last few turns of your match were freaking exhilarating. As for the campaign rules, I'm looking forward to seeing you two try those out once the Rona gets the frick out of the way. Yes, we are also very much looking forward to that.
Yes, that should be quite fun.
And actually, I was thinking about this because so for the people at home who don't know,
I'm thinking about this.
The Urban Manhunt campaign rules that we looked at, you play a manager of like a stable of hunters.
Well, don't you actually make all the hunters up and then you have to bid for them?
Yes, yeah, they're all randomly generated and then you bid for them. So I think the perfect models for them at the start would be some generic post-apocalyptic dudes, which you've got plenty of. I'm sure I've got plenty of as well. And then when you like upgrade them to the next level, then you can start getting interesting models in, saying like, oh, I bought this guy this weapon, so that'd be really cool. So you can kind of give them different miniatures at the different scales of their popularity, if you like. That'd be wicked.
That would be cool.
Kev Smallwood says, those French, they have a different word for everything. Wink wink. I'm sure we probably said something Frenchy in the last one and didn't know what it meant.
We have that trouble with English words, Parker.
A lot of which are French.
Funny enough,
and or German and or other European languages. I mean, that's just the way of it, isn't it? An earth is an earth, as they say. Paul Richardson says, I'm always naked downstairs. Scared the crap out of the postie.
Oh, you lot are just sickening me.
Jakey Boy Woo Kinky says, what's your go-to paint when you just need to put colour on models.
Parker does not understand that concept.
Well, no, I think by which he means, like, do you have any, if like, oh, it doesn't really matter what colour this is, I just need to paint it. I always end up using that one red or that one blue or whatever. Do you know what I mean? I do use drag in a lot of like Rakarth flesh, that kind of colour, like a beigey kind of colour that can come in and kind of go anywhere. I'm thinking of anything particular that I like.
I don't like that fucking haircut of yours. What the hell is going on with that? Sweet mother of God.
When the apocalypse is over, I'll get a haircut. It is not over yet. You cut
your own fucking hair anyway.
I know. I'm growing it out of choice, out of principle.
Out of laziness.
Well, no, I mean, I could just, if I wanted to, but I'm just seeing what happens.
I'll tell you what happens. You look like a fucking bellend.
What have I've been liking a lot of two colours from Vallejo, one of which is Deck Tan, and the other one of which is German Grey. And I've got them just here, actually. German Grey is like a kind of it's just an off-black kind of blue.
Yeah, I've got that. That's a cracking colour.
So good. I mean, it doesn't look like much, but it's just, you can darken anything down with it, and it doesn't look, it's not too black, it's not too brown, it's not too blue, it's just a really nice.
And it's a really good highlight over black as well.
Yeah. And the other one is somewhere else. I can't find it. I've put it somewhere safe and I've lost it. Is Deck Tan, which is kind of a very, very light ivory type colour, but with a bit of kind of yellow beige in it. So that's really good for highlighting, adding it to stuff to highlight it without it going kind of stark and colourless, and too desaturated.
Oh, right, cool.
Yeah, I've got it somewhere, but I can't find it right now.
Wayne was just saying, oh, proper sexy Parker now. Where do we put our dollar bills? You do not want to know where Parker accepts dollar bills.
Oh, yeah. Right. Pale sand, what did I say it was? See, it looks really white there. It's actually more of a kind of a yellowy, creamy kind of colour. Really nice.
You mix that in, do you, to just change the colouring slightly?
Yeah, just use it as a lot of highlighting and stuff like that. And because a lot of times if you add white, it desaturates the colour. Whereas if you add a not white, kind of a slightly coloured white, if you see what I mean, then it stops it from looking really desaturated and harsh.
You tell Parker's the painter of us two, because I just throw a base colour on, throw an Agrax Earth shade over it, put the base colour back on. Thank you.
Well, yeah. But also you can add it to different colours on the same model. So like if I'm painting a blue top and brown trousers, if I add pale sand to each one to highlight, then it still highlights both, but it kind of brings the colours slightly together, so they kind of look more cohesive on the model.
I did not think of that, yeah. But then I'll still throw Agrax Earth shade over it, job done.
Yeah, totally. I mean,
oh, look out, Parky, there's a big long message coming up. I can't read all of that.
All right,
the Americans.
What, a big 4-line message? Yeah.
Not on this, it's not. It's like a 57 on my phone.
You've got one letter. The letters are so big. They're one letter.
I've got to have them so big because I can't read them. Afternoon, Mr. Eric, sir. Ahoy.
I love his little picture. I think that's from Revenge of the Nerds. Nerds! Howdy, dudes. Howdy to you, Eric. Big shout out to the Black Hoof Saloon. Any Wild West Exodus players out there who don't watch it, who don't listen, check out the Black Hoof Saloon podcast. Just going to head to work and saw you two on. So I just got a wet palette. First one ever. Used a bit. Don't know what I think yet. What do you guys think of them?
Ask our resident painter, Pocky.
I fucking love them. I think they're really, really good. I think that they're not necessarily... they won't make you a better painter, but they'll just make the act of painting easier, of less of a hassle. Like if you've got some paint on your palette, on a traditional palette, you go back to it a couple of times and then it dries out, or maybe you water it down and then it starts to dry out and it doesn't act the same because you're going back to it and it's drying out ever so slightly over a period of 10 minutes or whatever. and then you kind of messes you about. Whereas if you put it on a wet palette and it stays the consistency that you want it to be at for longer, therefore you get more use out of that paint and you know how it feels. Does that make sense?
Is this the point where I turn around and say, this is why you should be doing painting videos, you dumbass?
I've started one, but I can only do bits of it at a time. I can't do the whole thing in one go. So I'm started it, and I'm going to edit it as it happens.
Yes, but those are things you should be doing, because you are very, very precise and very, very good at that.
Yes,
I'm still not going to watch them because I don't like you.
But yeah, I think I don't think they're not like a silver bullet or magic bullet or whatever, but they're really handy to have. And also, as a painter who tends to go to things sporadically depending on what mood I'm in, the ability to leave the paint on there if I've mixed a certain colour and then come back to it the next day is super handy.
I've tried them a couple of times, but the problem for me is they don't fit my painting style. They don't work with the way I paint. I paint quickly, and you know, I don't bother mixing paints. I just fucking slap it on. You know, like wallpaper. Fucking get it on there. Get it on. Job done.
And they also don't work with certain paints as well. Certain metallics they don't work with particularly well because they'll draw the moisture in or out of the pigment. So when you've got your like little mica flakes or whatever it is that are in metallic paint, they can kind of interrupt the water balance of that.
I think I know that. But then again, why would you want to use metallics on a wet palette?
Well, you might think of them as normal paints, so you would think, I can use that on a wet palette. And often you can if you mix them with other paints. So what I've seen Sarastro do, which is a painter I follow on YouTube, very good painter, is he'll mix metallic paints with normal paints to give kind of a sheen rather than a full metallic. Works really well for weapons because you think, I don't want a silver weapon, I want like a black metal, gunmetal thing. So you mix half black, half metal, and then you've got like that kind of gunmetal vibe. And then they're like more like normal paints. I don't know how contrast paints as well. I don't know how they work on wet palettes either.
I wouldn't have thought you need to bother with a wet palette with contrast paints.
No, you shouldn't need to.
I certainly don't. I love them. Love them. I need to buy some more. Just slap them on. Love it. And that's another thing when it comes to painting is the whole no more metal argument. I'm like, great. I have a huge amount of respect for these people that can paint this stuff like that because it's beautiful. I look at it and go, that'd be funny. Why didn't you just use a bit of chainmail?
Right, I know. It was bothering me.
He's combing his hair live for all 14 people to see. It's horrific.
There you go. Yeah, I think
he's not going to have his fucking ponytail back. I can tell thee.
I think non-metallic metals is a great thing. It's wonderful that people can do it, but it's not my bag at all.
Oh, have you seen the message, Parky? He's just popped up.
No. Straw, so you liking my flamethrower, man? I'm thinking of painting him orange. Yes.
Woohoo! Cracking little model. Loved it.
Oh, what have I done? Oh, no.
What have you done, Parky?
Oh, no, it's all right. You know, sometimes you click on stuff and then you move it and then you don't know how or why you've done it.
Yeah, that's the problem with this. Because I have to do it split screening, don't I, to keep your face on it. If I touch or move anything, I'm like, nope, I'm checking messages on my phone. I'm not touching it because it'll all move. But I've kind of learned that I can sometimes now, if we do carry on doing this kind of thing in future, and we get onto a specific subject, I can kind of just press a button and, you know, I can add images.
So if we're talking about crotch gangrene, you can just bring up a picture of crotch gangrene.
Blue waffle!
No. Yeah, I think non-metallic metal is a great thing. I'm really impressed when people do it, but it's not for me. And also, it's one of those things that looks great from one angle, and then you move it, and it's like, but now it doesn't look right. Yeah. And I just can't be bothered. I just could not be bothered. When I see some Instagram painters, and you'll like. I know I'm a slow painter. I'm not going to deny it. It's just what I am. But when you see someone put up a picture of a foot, and then you see them put up a picture the following week of a shin, and you're like, dude, like that's even slower than me. And yes, it looks amazing, but I can't. Fucked.
That's another thing. That is another thing that about painting. When you look at all these people that are expert painters, professional painters, and they're painting their things, and you look and they'll paint one little part on this figure to completion, and then go on to something else on that same model. I'm like, I couldn't do that, because if I painted this like pouch up to perfection, I'm sure as shit if I start painting the thigh bone or something that's underneath it, I'm going to splatter paint.
Yeah, definitely.
No! Just no! Parker now has a quiff on his head.
I do, yes. I think it's a different approach. I think especially if you're using a particular set of colours, you can set your palette up to have X amount of browns or whatever, and then you can do that. Like, that's a good way of doing it, and it saves space on your palette, and then you can clean it off when you've done the pouch, go to the trousers, which are going to be blue, so then you can set up all your blues. But who can be fucked with that, all right?
Exactly. So now, Parky, you need to be talking about. So just start talking, Parky.
Yeah. Are you going to fucking put something rude over my head?
No. I've just been asked to do something.
You need to be seductively combing your beard. Yeah, you sexy beast.
Yes, Miss Moneypenny. The name's Pond. Deep Pond.
Kev Smallwood again says, speaking of gaming conferences, Gen Con is online this year. Registration's free. The gaming experience may not be as good for gaming in person, but announcements and all the exhibits will be good. Yes, the time is offset by around 5 hours, but sleep is for the dead gamers. Better than nothing, I hope. Yeah, I think I'll be dipping in and out of it and seeing what happens on there, but I don't think I'll be sitting at my computer live while it's happening and then interacting with it, if that makes sense.
Afternoon from sunny Sudbury. Who's that? 39 Stevie. Well, hello to you. Sunny Sudbury, near Bury St Edmunds, I believe.
Yeah, a bit further down, but yeah, it's down in Suffolk, I think.
Suffolk?
Yeah. Been to Sudbury a couple of times.
Yeah, normally when you get Bury St Edmunds, mate, you step across the border from Thetford.
I remember, so years ago, I went to Sudbury because I had a mate down there. And
you don't have any friends. Nobody likes you.
This was back in my Grebo trenchcoat days.
You remember them?
What?
Do you remember them? Because that was a fucking long while ago, mate.
It was a long while ago, and I did spend a lot of it out of my face. But I remember walking past some people, and they're like, oh, you know what they say about men with beards? And I was like, fucking what? I mean, what's that about? That's like beardist. But now, every fucker's got a beard. Beards are like in now. Beards are cool. You see dudes with massive, great big bushy beards.
I'm only growing mine because I'm fucking lazy and I'm a pirate or a Viking. I haven't decided which, so.
A Piking.
A Piking.
Yeah.
Can I be the other way round? A Viper.
A Viper.
A Viper. No.
I'm a Piking. I'm the king of pies.
Literally, king of pies.
I do love a pie.
Pies.
Pie's good.
Yeah, I told you Sudbury wasn't that far. Well, it's far from where we moved from. From good old Thetford. Shit.
Paul Richardson says, top mumble again, dudes. Thank you very much, Paul. Top mumble to you too, sir. Was Parker really on Zoom, or was Straw folded him into a little box for handy transportation purposes? Yes.
It took a lot of holding and a lot of use of a Hoover on suck.
I'm in the Phantom Zone. With Terrence Stamp was odd, I think, wasn't he?
Well, it's better than being in the friend zone.
Well, that's true. Anyway, have you guys thought about Oathmark for largish fantasy games? It's by Joseph McCullough of Frostgrave fame. And
never heard of him.
Oathmark. Let's get that up on another screen. So, see, this is the advantage of this.
Oh, I was chatting to him the other day. Never heard of the bloke.
All right.
I just don't know if I'd want to do great big fantasy battles anymore. It depends on it's all base to base stuff. Is it all base to base stuff, Parky?
I'm looking at it. I'm just getting it up now.
Ooh, you're getting it up now. Ooh, dirty little man. Dirty.
I think so. See, that's the thing. Talking earlier on about whatever I was talking about.
Really? Who the fuck is asking these questions?
15 mil and stuff like that. Oh yeah, it's square bases, rank and file type stuff.
Nope.
But I think if I was going to do that kind of battle, I'd want to do it in little 15, maybe even 12 mil.
So
maybe
then
even
you could have
6
things
mil.
that would look like a huge battle.
Yeah, totally. Because that's the problem with something like 40k as well. You go, here's my massive 2,000 point army of 40 dudes and 5 tanks. And you go, why are there 5 tanks for these 40 dudes? Like Conflict 47, which is based on bolt action, it's at that kind of company platoon level. And because of the way the list building works, is it's built on actual historical unit sizes. So like you'll have a platoon, which will be a command unit, 3 units of 10 dudes, a couple of support dudes like a mortar and a machine gun, and then a support tank. And that's your force, because that's a platoon, because that's what a platoon is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's a really cool way of doing it. Whereas a lot of times, because of the way weird list building can happen in a lot of games, you go, oh, I've got Mortarion and 4 dudes. Like, why is Mortarion just walking around with 4 dudes in a tank? It doesn't make any sense.
Parker, apparently you look like you're selling the big issue.
Yes, probably.
Cheers, Kev. Straw, a pie king, you can fuck off.
No, a pie king.
Silly Dave, is it too early for a beer?
Never too early for a beer.
Is it too early? No. Are the battle hamsters wearing pants in this? Who's first?
I'm wearing trousers.
Yes, I am. Still, wearing trousers.
Yes, wearing trousers.
It's always evening somewhere. Dude, you don't fucking drink during the evening. You do your drinking in the day. That way you can go to bed sober.
Oh, Heavy B says, problem with many of these games have such a large startup to get into the game. And that's kind of what I'm saying about little 15 to 6 mil smaller versions of the game. So you can have a big army and it doesn't cost you $5,000 because you want a big fucking army. Oh, you did an actual moon at the camera. I just showed my bum and you did an actual moon.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
That's a free one for all of you people. Feel free to donate £5 each or else you'll see more next time.
Yeah. You start up an OnlyFans page or something, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Only for these fans if you don't want to see my ass.
Yeah. Checky Boy Woo Kinky says, technical monkey calling in. So massive shout out to Jake.
Cheers, Jake.
If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be here doing this right now. He properly helped us out and gave us the knowledge to be able to set this up. So thanks, Jake.
I mean,
you're a
we
legend.
sat there the other day, didn't we? And had a fiddle to get it all, the way we wanted it and everything. And yeah, I think it's great. Once we can work out, what all the other shit does.
And we'd have never figured it out on our own.
Fuck no, I didn't even know you could do. Well, I obviously knew there was a way that you could do this because I've seen other people do it. But will you leave that quiff alone, Elvis? It's a fucking Elvis haircut now, mate.
Oh.
Yeah, no, there was no dark spot. That was a poop turtling.
Oh. Alan says, your machine worked. Fucking jumped down, just like Mike TV from Willy Wonka. Which is accurate. I did look a little bit like that. Oh yeah, I forgot you had dogs.
Yeah, 2 of them are asleep, and then there's a van pulled up over the road, and you know what Frankie's like, I'm going to have a bark.
Yeah.
Ted's on the sofa asleep, Tilly's on the floor asleep, Frankie's lurking. Why is Straw so quiet? I'm not quiet. I'm drinking rum.
I mean, we haven't balanced all of our sounds and stuff. I mean, I'm sure there's ways you can do
How
that,
is
right?
this for you?
No, I don't like it.
Ah! Well, we don't use microphones and everything, because that's more fucking pissing about, isn't it? I don't know how to use the fucking microphone.
They can send us money if they want, and we'll buy fancy mics.
Yes, you can do that by donating something. Is there a donation button on here somewhere?
You said there was, but I don't know.
There's one on my thing that I've got here. Yeah.
So you set it up that you can donate money to yourself, is what you're saying?
No, it goes to our PayPal.
Support the stream, Streamlabs /Battlehammer01.
There you go.
Click on that. Is that it?
Yeah. So you can actually donate live. Live.
Even direct.
So all these people who've got money and want to waste it on like toys, they can buy us toys.
And don't you have then that? Oh yeah, people can put in the amount they donate, and then it puts a little message up, and then it goes, Jakey Boy 20 donated $6.31.
Hey?
Well, according to this, I don't know when. That might not be today. Oh, if you did, thank you very much. It didn't come up on our feed. You can get it that it comes up, and like a little dude comes up and goes, and then they'll say, oh yeah, thanks very much, you did that thing.
See, I'm not getting this on my picture because I've got like I don't know what the fuck I've got up here. It's the one that's got both of us on, and it's got all the guff around it, so I'm kind of missing seeing all of the fun stuff.
In theory, it should come up. They put it onto their thing.
Yeah, but I won't see it.
Oh.
I won't see it on there.
I mean, in theory, it could just come up on the screen.
Rum keeps him quiet. Just wait till it's finished. Oh, it won't be finished. I've got an entire fucking bottle of it to go through. I will be a bit of a mess by the end of it, but it's so nice to drink. I took a photo the other day. I don't know whether any of you guys saw it, but it's a photo of me with my pirate hat on and the bottle of rum, just sitting near the table of all the pirate stuff that I was filming at the time, and I put that picture up on the Hailstorm Facebook page, and I got like 150 odd likes from it. I'm like,
wow.
Okay. And when I put gaming stuff up on there that's all pirate related, it's getting so many likes and comments. I'm like, hold on, a lot of these bloody fans are gamers. And unsourced little market there, just shove me stuff in there.
Yeah.
And we started getting more followers that way as well. So it's all good. The more followers we get, the more shit we keep producing for you. And you and you and
No. Eric says, dang, the werewolves are confused and coming out due to Straw's full moon. Let's do
full moon,
off to work.
trust me.
Have a good day.
That was not a full moon. See that, Eric? Enjoy your day, mate. It wasn't the full moon.
No. Do we have anything
questions on there, Elvis?
Sorry?
Do we have any more questions on there?
No, that's all the questions done.
Well, fuck, that's not good. Now what we're going to talk about?
We've been on it for about an hour.
There is 13 people still watching. We can't stop and yes, we can.
They'll have to think of questions for us, right? If they've got anything quickly, they can put it up now before we finish our stream.
Yeah, we'll give you 5 more minutes of fun-filled funness.
5 more minutes of us sitting quietly until you give us a question to answer.
Oh, a little sniff of this, Parky. Have a sniff of that. Have a sniff of that. Yeah.
I can't see you on my thing. I can only see you on the thing. And it's
so there's
like 2
another thing that
minutes
gets
long.
confusing. I've got 2 pictures of you, and it's. I'll tell you what, Parky, that's got a damn good likeness.
Thanks. It looks just like me.
Did you get paid extra for actually posing for that?
No, actually, no. I did it out of my own. I think part of my contract, they own your likeness or whatever. Brian Wilkinson says full moon, half moon, total eclipse.
Of the heart! Hey!
Fucking, it's the Jaffa Cakes advert, do you remember? Well, obviously you don't remember. There was a Jaffa Cakes advert that was full moon, half moon, total eclipse.
Oh, I see, when you're eating the Jaffa cake.
Yeah.
I just shoved it whole.
Kevin B says, I asked your view on online gaming and on online roleplay at this time.
Oh, interesting, Kevin.
Oh, sorry, we didn't see it earlier on. I apologise. Sorry, Kev. Yes, I think it's a really good thing. I'm glad it exists. I've been playing a few board games on Board Game Arena, which has been really... I'm so glad it's there, and it's given me an opportunity to play those games. One of the cool things I'm really liking about Board Game Arena is you don't have to set it up. You just click into the game. Like, say, for example, me, Stick, and Chris have been playing some board games. So Stick will set up a table. We just join him in the website and the thing, and then we can play. So you don't have to set it up. You don't have to shuffle cards or deal things out. You can just, and if you want to pack it away, you just press "I'm done," and then it's gone, which is super good. But it doesn't have the same feel of being there with someone, moving your little dudes around.
But we've been doing some role playing. We've been doing some role playing on Zoom. Nick's been running for us. He's been running a cyberpunk kind of slash altered carbon, and that's been working out quite well, actually. Quite enjoying that. So I'm being not forced. I'm going to be running a Star Wars one for Parker and the two chaps that were on that forced me to go on to their podcast.
Odd-sided dice.
Odd-sided dice. I was on there with Kevin and Ian, and we sort of got onto the subject of role playing. And I said, well, what the hell? So I'm going to run a one-off Star Wars for them all, and I will be recording it, so you wonderful people will get to see Parker play another character that's not a Wookiee. I know how sad you are about that, but they've all come up with their characters. They've all worked their characters out. It's 3 really interesting characters, and it will be fun to see how they interact with each other. Because Parker is a cracking little role player. He really is, and I think something like this works better for his role playing than having him sat at the table with the people. Don't ask why, because I know it's when he's role playing like this, it's better.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
If you say, I mean, I suppose you feel less constrained by being around people. You can become more excited. Like, I know I've been in our Cyberpunk game, I've been shouting at you quite a lot, which is something I probably wouldn't do in real life.
It's fucking awesome. I'm loving it.
But it's been really cool to do that kind of stuff. And I don't know. I think when you're online, you're in your own house. You can, if you're not paying attention, it kind of doesn't matter. Like sometimes if you're playing in a role playing group and you're chatting to the GM in character or another player in character, everyone else can kind of get distracted and they can chat among themselves, or they kind of look at something else. Whereas in a Zoom conversation, you're basically watching them, because you can't just have a side chat, because that's not how Zoom works.
Yeah, and they can't have their own conversation. They've got to focus on what's happening, and I think that is a better way of doing it for some groups, especially. Let's not be funny. We have people, Parky, that we role play with that are a fucking nightmare. And something like Zoom, if they try to do what they do on that, everyone else is just going to punch them in the fucking head.
Yeah. Because
it's going to be annoying, and you're not going to get what's going on. This way, the players have to fucking listen, and I think that's a good thing. As I said, Kev, I think it has made a difference to the way some people role play, And I'd like to think, if they do it enough, it will make them better role player. So when they are actually sitting down and doing it in person, they're better. If not, they should all fuck off and die.
And also, I think when you're talking, sometimes you want to do like almost not a monologue, but you've got a thing you want to convey as a character. They have a thing they want to say, and people are less likely to interrupt. Whereas they would in a tabletop game, everyone would chat over each other, and you kind of get shuffled out in the corner. Whereas in an online game, because of the way Zoom is, if you start talking, if people want to interrupt you, you kind of have to let them or not. Do you know what I mean?
That's one of the things that I've mentioned it so many times when we're filming all our gaming stuff. Any of our role playing stuff is you try to grill it into their fucking tiny little heads. Don't talk over each other because all the viewers are going to get is Zoom kind of forces them to sit back and listen. Is there a space? Can I speak now? And I think that's better. I think that works a lot better. Yes, Ed, we've already done your bloody questions, you cheeky sod.
We have already done them.
Parker's knob? Did you get a knob out, Parker?
No, it's Grundle Splutch, the gangrenous.
Yes, it's basically
my one. Yeah, I think it's been really good. I don't think it's something I'd want to use all the time. Like I don't think it's a replacement, but it's definitely. I'm glad it's there.
I'm really glad it's there because once the Battlehammer moved location, I thought it's going to be a bit difficult now. But now, we can just go. I tell you what, we'll do a role play game and we'll just do it on Zoom, and we can just play. You guys still do it on a Tuesday night. Nick runs for us on a Sunday. I think it's a better way of doing it. It's a safer way of doing it because I don't want to smash all your faces in by the end of the session because I can't because you're not actually here.
And also because we're already behind.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know. And a couple of other kind of sideways positives are it's not something I'd ever used before.
No.
Excuse me. But I kind of like that because my computer's on anyway, if I do need to check anything, I can. If I've got... So one thing that we've got on Tuesday nights at the moment, we were playing D&D, so we had D&D Beyond up, which was super handy to have. I know that you hate D&D, but as a website kind of useful thing to have all your character stuff on, really useful.
With a bit of fucking paper.
No, I know, but it's just handy to have all that stuff there. And then if you need to check anything, you can just check it without having to get books out. You just type in, what's this rule? And it'll tell you what the fucking rule is, which is really handy.
Oh, that's okay, I suppose.
And also for character sheets, we've been using a PDF that is kind of filled in halfway. And then you can just click on it and fill it in. So it's kind of like a proper character sheet that you can mark tick boxes on, but something about having it on your computer so everyone else can see it if they want to. Everyone, you can download it to the group. On Zoom, you can put up maps and stuff, and other people can draw on them, which isn't not vital, and obviously it's different to the real.
Handy.
It's handy.
Because I know a lot of role players use maps and stuff with miniatures and all that. That's not role playing, just so you know.
And also, as I was saying earlier on about board games, the setup and takedown is you clicking on a couple of pages and waiting for it to load. It's not an hour of just getting a fucking book out and then getting all the bits out and then shuffling cards and then putting 8 cards out and then doing this and that and the other. And you can't make mistakes. On Board Game Arena specifically, you can't make mistakes. Some other ones you can because they're a bit more nebulous, but in Board Game Arena, it's all set up. You click on this thing, that's where you go. If you click on the thing next to it and you can't go there, it says you can't go there. Which is really handy.
So what sort of stuff have you been playing on that then? Because I don't fucking know. I don't like playing board games if you like the best of fucking times.
We've been playing Through the Ages, which is a civilization building game. And that's another one that would be a nightmare to play in real life with various different decks of cards, various things you can do wrong, resource management, checking all these rules and all this kind of stuff. And it just does it all for you. We've been playing... What?
How excited are you for the expansion, Parky?
What, for TI4?
Yeah.
If it's real, I am fucking very excited. So, for people at home who may or may not care,
It's going to take even longer to set the fucking game up.
Yeah. There is a TI4 available on Tabletop Simulator, which is the big 3D one that a lot of people play on. But
that's money. You can't play on it.
You got to pay it, and it doesn't. It's not Board Game Arena is like a 2D website, if you like, and it does all the work for you. Whereas Tabletop Simulator, it gives you the assets, and then you have to use them as you would use them, which is a bit of a faff. But apparently, I did see a picture from only a single Twitter source that was about a expansion for Twilight Imperium 4, which I am super excited about if it's real. And it said like internal use only on the bottom of the thing, so I don't know if it's a leak. I don't know if it's not. I've looked it up online. I can't find it anywhere else apart from this one guy's Twitter feed. It looks legit, but it might be bullshit.
So what are they saying's in it? Another alien race?
There's I'd have to bring it up. Give me a second. Give me a second. I'll see if I can find it.
Kev Bryant, do you really want to stream an 8-hour TI game? Yes.
I mean, yeah, I'd love to if it was doable. I did watch the stream that what's the website called? Not No Pun Included. The other lot. Shut Up and Sit Down. They did a TI4 thing with 4 players, and they needed 2 other people being there just to work out all the tech stuff while they played the game.
Wow. Thanks. That sounds like hard work. I like this. Jakey Boy Woo Winky. I like online role playing. I can mute myself while I'm munching down on crisps and noisy things. Then you don't have to worry about making too much noise.
I wish Stick would do that.
Really?
Well, mate, he eats crisps louder than anyone I've ever fucking heard. I'm not even joking. Mom, God. It's like a fucking wood chipper. Fucking awful. Could you... See, the problem is the picture quality is not great because it looks like it's a... where is it? Come on.
Yeah, Mum.
Here it is. So the picture quality is not great.
See, now, in theory, in future, we'll be able to take that picture and shove it up.
So, I'll read the blurb, and then, again, this is just a thing I found. I haven't found anywhere else. It might be bullshit. I don't know. So I'm going to read the blurb out to you. Twilight Imperium Prophecy of Kings expansion. This is for Twilight Imperium 4th edition. For the first time in years, a massive wealth of new content arrives for Twilight Imperium with the Prophecy of Kings expansion, bringing additional content to nearly every part of the game. 2 additional players can now join the galactic struggle, bringing the total player count up to 8.
Oh, shit! That's a weekender, isn't it?
Yeah. With 7 never-before-seen factions and 40 new system and hyperlane tiles, there's more to fight over than ever before. The game's existing factions also have plenty to gain from Prophecy of Kings, with the introduction of 74 leaders, which aren't a thing that exists already, and a new mech units, new promissory notes, relics, exploration cards, action cards, agenda cards, objective cards, and much, much more. Make this an expansion that can't be missed for any Twilight Imperium player. Key selling points. Expands up to 8, 7 new factions, leaders, which is a thing that we don't exist, and mechs, which is a thing that doesn't exist. $99.95. And that's for the
recommended retail price is £407.
It's more expensive than most games are, and it's just an expansion.
Yeah, but I'm not being funny, mate. If you can put it up to 8 players, there's going to be a lot of shit in there.
Yeah.
We're gonna need a bigger table.
Yeah, I know. If it's real, I'm pumped. I'm fucking ready for that. Even though I've only played it like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, Parker said so, so now it's official. Yeah, the world is now going to blame you, Parker, if this is not an actual thing.
Well, like I said, I just found it on one guy's Twitter feed who seems legit. Like, he's got other stuff on his Twitter feed that seems awesome. And I've put a little reply, and no one else has replied to it. No one else kind of knows what it's about. So who knows? But it does say on the thing, for internal use only. So I guess it's like an email that might have got its way out.
Is there anything new that's coming out that you're interested in, Parker?
There's stuff I'm still looking forward to. Dystopian Wars from War Cradle, I'm really looking forward to when that eventually comes.
Boats.
Yeah, boats. And I think that I don't know if I'm misquoting or paraphrasing or what, but I'm pretty sure I saw Chris Pond chatting on somewhere, and I forget if it was an official thing or not, I might have just said it, but because of the pushback due to coronavirus,
I like a good pushback.
They've actually been able to make more things in plastic than they originally were going to, because they've had more time to work on the moulds and stuff.
Oh, nice.
Which is cool. Yeah, that's something I'm really hoping for comes sooner rather than later. I've got a 7TV Kickstarter coming. You know that game we haven't played yet? I've got the Argonauts expansion coming for that. I've also got an expansion. Say again?
Are you getting Jason?
No, it's it's Argo, like Professor Argo, who's like a robot evil scientist guy. He's like a bad guy in the world, and he creates evil robots that try and take over the world. And he's got a big tripod that he drives around in. It's cool. I've also got an expansion for Spirit Island coming that I kickstarted like a year and a bit ago. So that will be played on the channel.
Well, all I'm waiting for is Pirates of the Dead Sea.
Nice.
What's that you say? Don't ask me. They got in contact with me this morning, so... Anyway, it's pirates. You know what I feel about pirates. Yar!
Oh, good lad.
Yar! Anything I can play and re-skip... I need to get a better tri-horn, I really do.
Your tri-horn's been awesome.
Yeah, I know.
It's
solid. I want one that I can crush up and fucking hit people with. If I hit people with that one, it's going to fucking knock them out.
My one used to be nice, and then it spent a bit of time up in the loft, and now it's all a bit like bumpy.
Yeah. But yeah, I like anything that I can reskim for the systems I'm playing at the moment, I'm happy with. But yeah, so I might get myself some more Pirates from Ranging Minis.
Nice.
Raging Heroes, sorry, because they look awesome. I just love the Cannoneer girl who's standing there, foot on the rock, and she's holding the cannon. Oh, that's a move or fire weapon, if you ask me. I mean, we're still waiting for thingy. Oh, don't be doing the comb over, mate. Don't be doing the comb over. That's no, Joni. Are you seeing this comb over? My God, that's just horrible on so many levels. I was reading something else and facepalm when I heard 7TV Kickstarter mentioned. Then click back to see Straw also facepalming. You really need to get on and play that game. No, we don't. No, we don't.
That'll be on our back to reality thing. Once we get back to the world, we'll be playing some of that.
Jane is now sitting in the corner being violently sick because of your comb over, Parky.
That's fair. I can't say I blame her.
Nobbler. Nobber. No, you should put an L in there. Nobbler always sounds better than Nobber.
The other thing I'm looking forward to, even though we haven't played that either, is there's a new expansion for Judge Dredd, which is the specialist judges. So you've got a side judge, a tech judge, a veteran judge wearing like a big rad cloak that looks fucking awesome.
We haven't played the first one yet.
I know that.
And we're still waiting for Tainted Grail.
Yeah.
That should be dropping this month. I heard I did. That should be dropping this month. Other than that, the only other thing we've kickstarted recently was Isolation, the expansion for Nemesis.
Yeah.
Which puts you on Mars.
Got to play that with like, once we're all back to the thing, we've got to play that with like 4 or 5 people.
Oh god, yeah, we have to. It's really good with 2 players, but I think put a couple more players in there and you are that's the sweet spot, I think, for that game.
Hell, you've got coming.
Wayne Wilkinson saying, yeah, he looks like he should be on a few lists now. Probably the pedo list, Parky, the way you were looking just then.
What, with our mate Gary?
He's not my mate. He might be your mate.
No. Did you hear about Gary?
What?
Gary. Like,
our mate Gary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know he got put away for being a pedo.
Oh, right. Okay. Sorry.
That's a really weird moment, isn't it? When you've come back into town and you've been, you're finally catching up with some of your friends. They say, "Oh, do you remember so and so?" And you're like, "Yeah, I remember him. He was okay." No, he wasn't. He's been put away for being a pedo. Yeah,
fucking scary shit. 18 years ago.
And I had to turn around and say, "You do mean Parker?" And they went, "No, not Parker."
You cunt. Fuck you. The worst bit was, like, Chris, funnily enough, it came up in the conversation the other day, and Chris was like, yeah, but he was a bit weird. I'm like, look, we're all fucking
love
weird,
you, brother
mate.
Casper Joel. Love you. Thank you. Want to be in my gang? No, not really.
It's like, yeah, he was weird, but, like, if we'd have known that, we wouldn't have been hanging out with him playing, like, Vampire the Masquerade on a Saturday night or anything, would we?
If I'd have known that, I wouldn't have been staying away doing LRP in an isolated fucking forest with him sleeping next to me.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder why I woke up one night and he's spooning me saying, "Just call me Daddy." No! Bad Gary, get off.
I don't want to be in your gang, Wayne. I don't want to be in your gang.
Your gang,
no
your gang. You fucking sick bastard.
I think, what better point could we leave a conversation on?
I don't think there is. We've got 15 people watching, and those 15 people can now sod off and get lives.
Yeah, 96 minutes ago. It was 96 minutes ago. Where are you going to go? Remember that? 21 seconds? That was a thing.
I have no idea. When are you going to become president of the United States, Parky?
What, because I've got that bad hair?
No, I just think, no one can fuck it up as bad as the old Trump is, so you might as well have a go.
It's true. They do say you can be anything you want when you grow up, don't they? When I grow up, I will be anything I want.
No, you won't, because you're already old.
It's true.
Life is basically over for you, mate. I'm sorry, but,
Lives from... I think you go down to the shop and you buy them, right?
No, you get 9 of them automatically, don't you? I'm not Fuck.
Love to you, Kev. Glad to see you're safe as well. Hope everyone at home is...
Yeah, we hope you are all being safe. And if you can't be safe, then you're probably going to die horribly.
Party hard. Right.
Anywho, I think until next time, you horrible bunch of people...
Yeah.
What we'll do, Park, is I'm going to stop it so they can all piss off and get lives, and we'll carry on having a chat for 10 minutes, you and me.
Yep.
So, thank you very much, boys and girls. I'm sure there was a girl in there at some point. I think there was as well. Roxana, I think she was there. Hello.
Nice.
And Kev Bryant is obviously female.
Yeah.
I really wishes he was. Because that way you could jump you, Parky.
Well, who wouldn't want that, right?
No one on this planet?
Well, you don't know that. I mean, I haven't met them all yet. I haven't, I haven't forced them. They don't know what they don't want. You know what I mean?
They don't know what they're missing. What are you doing?
I'm trying to get my mustachio all fancy before I say goodbye.
Curl it so you can touch your eyebrows with it. Yes, see, there was a lady present. Hello. Hello. Sorry if we were rude and inappropriate, but that's just Parker for you.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, photocopiers of all ages, and especially to you, Bookcase, it's been wonderful having a little chat with you all.
Yeah, it has. Monthly Mumbled.
Monthly Mumble number 30, I think, Parky.
It is, yeah. And for Mike, who was saying that he couldn't hear me very well, it is a monthly mumble after all.
Well, yeah. So if you can't hear me,
it's one of those weird things. You don't know what your own voice sounds like because you only hear it in your own head. And then you hear someone else like record it, and you realise, why am I sounding like?
Sound like an utter bit. Oh, good lord! There's been a second lady watching as well. Wayne Wilkinson's wife. Hello, my dear. We are awfully sorry for our very, very laddish behaviour, but I blame Parker because he hasn't had a bit of pussy in ages.
Sorry, Mrs. Wayne.
Ooh! Ooh!
Oh, what?
Ooh!
Ooh, what? I can't see what you're doing.
Ooh! It's just as well. I was just saying, we might have been slightly rude and, not very nice because you haven't had a bit of pussy in ages. Oh, I did it again.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah, but it's not a dried up patch, is it, Parker? You're doing this to further your career.
Yeah, totes my loads. Yeah, I'm focusing on other stuff. I think it's like Rocky's coach used to say. What's his name? Mickey. Rocky's coach Mickey used to say, "Women weaken legs."
That depends on the woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it does. Oh, she laughed all the way through. Oh, bless her, Wayne. She's a keeper, isn't she?
Yeah, not with us, though.
She's either a keeper or she's mentally unstable. I mean, if she's mentally unstable, you know what that means when you're in the shower? Right.
Yabbering now. So.
Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you all next time when we might do this again.
For the people watching at home who weren't joining in, and even for those people, there are various ways you can help us out. We've got a Patreon page, which hopefully I'll remember to put in the doobly-doo once this goes onto the internet.
There's a donate thing on here, apparently.
Yeah, there's that. There is a Amazon wish list. There is a couple of affiliate links we've got with Wildstorm Games, which is where I picked up Grundle's Flux for Gangrenous and my poop tree from Wildstorm Games. We've also got fucking other stuff that you can do.
Fucking other stuff. There's lots of things you can do to help us, but seeing as most of you don't like us, it doesn't really matter.
The main number one thing you can do, though.
Oh, I can remember this.
Is don't forget to like and subscribe if you liked it and want to subscribe. If you don't like it and don't want to subscribe, you don't have to like and subscribe, but we would like it if you liked.